What is up, guys? So in this video, I'm going to show you guys the 7 biggest calisthenics mistakes that I've made. If you guys want to progress faster, then this video is for you. Let's go. Number 1, guys, is master the basics, right? A lot of people, when they want to learn like calisthenics, they want to progress way too quick. They want to learn the muscle up without learning to do 10 pull-ups or 10 push-ups. If you master the fundamentals, you're going to progress way faster. For myself as well, when I first started calisthenics, I thought I could just learn, the planche, front lever without actually training through progressions. So what you want to do is master the basics, right? The requirement I have for most people is to do at least 10 pull-ups, 25 push-ups, 20 dips, a 15-second L-sit, and 30 squats in a row. The reason I say this is because these are the basic exercises that's going to help you learn your skills. Now, the second mistake I did was chasing quantity over quality, right? When I first started, I was bragging about that I could do, 50 push-ups in a row, 30 pull-ups in a row. We weren't perfect form at all. The reason you want to do good form is, guys, number 1, you're going to progress much quicker than someone who does a bad form and does a lot of quantity. And the second thing is, it's also going to prevent injuries, right? For example, right, if you do a muscle up like this all the time, and you can do 10 of these, you're going to injure yourself much more. But if you do perfect muscle ups, and you may just do 5 reps, that is much better. That is way, way better, and you're going to progress much quicker than someone who does like really bad form but a lot of reps. Do everything in perfect form, or at the best form possible. That's gonna maximize the most gains, help you stay injury-free, and let you progress much quicker. Now, this brings you to the third mistake that I should do, is to learn too many skills at once. And if you're trying to learn a lot of skills at once, it's gonna be very hard for you to progress because you're not prioritizing them, so you can't put your focus on that specific skill, right? For example, right, if you will learn the muscle up, the planche, the handstand, the front lever, the planche all at once, it's going to be much harder for you to progress because you can't train them all at once. It's going to be very hard. Generally, what I like to say is to focus on 1 to 3 skills at one time. The reason I say 1 to 3 is because it's going to keep you on lock and doing different skills on different days of the week. So I like to learn 1 push skill at a time, 1 pull skill at a time, and 1 hand balancing skill at a time, right? So a good example of a push exercise could be handstand. So if you're learning like a handstand, this would be an example, right, of a push exercise. Now, if I want to learn something that's a pull exercise, it could be something like this, like a front lever. Right? And the hand balancing skill could be something just as simple like this, me learning just the crow pose. That's why I don't learn too many skills at once. You're gonna make much more progress than the guy or the girl who's learning 500 things at once than you just learning 2 to 3 skills at one time. Now, talking about skills, the things I wish I started doing first was using bands and negatives, right? So I'm going to show you guys the use of bands first. The use of bands is so good because it kind of lowers the difficulty of the exercise. Oh, that was terrible. So if you learn something with a muscle up, right, and you can't do a muscle up, you can use bands to like really learn this and get the reps in with perfect form. If you learn something like the handstand push-up as well, it's very good. Like that. A resistance band helps you mimic the actual exercise while staying off the load, so you can learn it with perfect form. Now, negatives help you learn the eccentric and the control of the movement. So if I'm trying to learn the muscle up, right, I can do banded muscle ups to get the reps in. But the second thing I can really do is the negative muscle up, right? So if I like slow down really, really, really slow, I'm building the muscles exactly that's needed for the muscle up. Or if it's something like the pull-up I'm learning, I can jump to the bar, jump up like this, and slowly, slowly, slowly come down. What essentially is doing is building the right muscles of the exercise. So once you actually go to perform them in a few weeks or a few months, you'll be able to do them because you've been practicing the negatives. Fifth mistake I made is not starting weighted calisthenics. Once you start getting really good at the basics, there's gonna come a point where you're gonna have to do a lot of reps to learn skills or to build muscle. But things like weighted calisthenics is gonna help you much more to build muscle, right? Let's say, for example, you can do 20 pull-ups in a row. Instead of just doing 20 pull-ups in every set, you can start adding weights, If you wanna build muscle, if you wanna learn skills, weighted calisthenics is a cheat code, For example, for me, I didn't really practice a shadow planche. I didn't really practice one-arm pull-ups, but by just doing weighted calisthenics, I was able to unlock those skills without actually training for it. And also, what weighted calisthenics also allows you to do is be way more explosive. If you have a very strong weighted pull-up and you come and take the weights off, you're gonna fly much quicker, right? So, you can do a muscle up that's very explosive. Or do a clap much quicker, right? Because you've taken the weight off and you're gonna feel like a superhero. Now this brings me to my sixth mistake that I wish I started doing was incorporating weights to calisthenics. What calisthenics lacks is isolation exercise. Very hard to isolate your lateral raises, your roll delts, and your biceps with just calisthenics movements. So with weights, what you can do is isolate the muscles, right? So you can do something like lateral raises to isolate the roll delts, or you can do the bicep curl, you know, to isolate the biceps. What isolation exercise is going to help you do is learn mind-muscle connection, which I personally think calisthenics lacks, and this is responsible for a lot of athletes getting injured because they cannot isolate the muscle. What isolation exercise also helps you do is build an aesthetic physique that's balanced, right? You know, a lot of people, they either have like, you know, like big arms, big shoulders, big chest, and no legs, right? Or they have, you know, big shoulders but no chest, right? So you want to be able to isolate muscle groups to build an aesthetic and a balanced physique. Not only looks good, but also performs amazing. Now this brings to the last point, which is to set a goal and stay consistent, right? Us humans were very motivated by milestones, goals, and ambitions. And if you treat calisthenics the same way of having a goal and trying to surpass that goal, you're gonna stay much more motivated and stay consistent in your training, right? You know, I've been training calisthenics and doing weights for the past 7 years. And the reason I've been able to stay consistent is because I've had a goal every time I train. For example, when I first wanted to learn the muscle up, one of my first goals was to learn a 1 muscle up, right? You know, it took me a lot of fails and tries. But once I got my first muscle up, I was like, you know what? I can do 5 muscle ups, you know? So I started just, you know, banging it out, progressing much quicker as I had a goal that I was working towards. Progress equals motivation and discipline. Have a goal, stay consistent, and stick towards that goal until you get it. Calisthenics is so good because it's a never-ending game. There's always something you can learn. So having a goal in calisthenics is one of the cheat codes of staying consistent and making the most progress and building the most muscle. All right guys, so that was the 7 things I wish I knew before starting calisthenics. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and hope you guys also implement these tips as you're gonna progress much quicker with calisthenics. And if you're all looking to start calisthenics, check the description down below. I got a free gift for you guys. And don't forget to share, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys. Yeah.